Wow.
There you go.
Alrighty then.
Hey everybody, I'm Shane.
I'm Lex.
Yeah, we've swapped sides because we're talking PCI today. Welcome to the webcast, and those of you who were here, just for the pre-show, I want to thank Bear Golightly. Coming in from our guest from Tennessee, absolutely, just outside of Nashville, and once again, I love the mind of a sysadmin. Mm-hmm. That DevOps mind of I'm going to solve this problem. However, I'm going to solve this problem so I have more time for coffee. I mean, let's call it what it is. You can remove the motivation. I'm going to solve this problem.
Okay, good point.
We're going to solve it regardless.
Laziness motivates me, so.
I know. Trust me.
You absolutely. We were sleeping in your office yesterday.
Sit in the same office with you, man. I'm surprised you can maintain the properties of a solid sometimes. I just think you're just going to spill out.
I work hard at that.
You're
just, All right, so PCI compliance, guys, it's one of those things if you're doing online charging and that, you got to do. Just so you guys know, Shane was really like, you know what PCI even stands for? I'm like, I copied it so I wouldn't get this wrong. Payment card industry.
You knew. Right. You've known.
This is the first time I've ever done this. I just want you guys to know I'm not an expert in this, but I am really good at helping people get set up for their audits. Okay.
And when you say we're talking PCI a little bit today, but I mean, there's a lot of different. Whether it's HIPAA, PCI, doesn't matter. There's a lot of different requirements out there for your industry, most likely, that you need to make sure your systems are compliant with. Yeah. And there's a lot of that data that you can help to not only collect but enforce with PDQ.
Yeah. So right here, I just went out to a couple of the security places that do audits, and they had some lists of steps for things you need to do. And the interesting thing here is 3 of the 5 steps on both of these are automating reporting, and automating compliance. Mm-hmm. So we can help you with all of those. So also, I think Kelly included the PCI security standards document in it's just a PDF you guys can check out if you need it.
All right.
Anyway, so first of all, the big thing is you want to make sure that you're going after generally your PCI machine. So the best way to do that is build a collection, right? So I've done 2 here. One's a static collection, which, if you're adding machines, you just go in and, grab a few and just put them in the collection, right?
Yep.
So
not a lot of people use static collections.
And there's a reason for that.
Yes, but I like it. There's for me, I always have like a working group of computers that it'd be hard to build a dynamic collection, but these are computers that low-hanging fruit I can deploy test packages to or whatever. A static collection is perfect for that.
The other thing I did was this. I built a custom field called PCI, and it's just a tag, yes or no, and then you can build a dynamic collection based off of that, and that's what I've done here.
And
again,
a custom field is generally, this fulfills a requirement and request that customers had years ago, basically saying, how can I just input data kind of manually into my inventory database, stuff that can't necessarily be grabbed from an inventory scanner, but I still want to track it. That's where these custom fields come in, because you can place these custom fields, attach them to each computer, and have different values for these fields.
Now,
so here you're saying you've got a PCI, it's a Boolean.
Is it or isn't it?
If this is a computer that has to be PCI compliant.
Now the nice thing about this, and again, any of your reporting that you can use this on, is going to keep it dynamic. So as you start adding other computers to it, they're just going to start showing up in your reports. So ultimately, I built a little folder for PCI reports, and again, when you're looking at reports in PCI in specific, right? Let's say your point of sale machines, POS. I know that stands for something different, but your point of sale machines, generally you got to keep those up to date. And the great thing about this is, one, use deploy. You can set up, schedules that will deploy and keep things current. The other thing, again, is you need to be able to show the PCI auditors that there's a process you go through. And basically that process here is automating these reports. So we're going to do just basic things here, like we've got like an app summary or installed app counts, right? So, you've got a few reports they're going to ask for. And again, with this, you just make sure that you select your PCI collection. And those are the machines that we're tracking, and those are the count of machines. So if you run this automated, and we'll show you how to do an auto report right after I finish the statement, basically, I check this, January, I check it February. February, Your Lab went from, 28 to 29. I know there's something new on there, and then I pull up the detailed report.
The number of applications.
Yeah, the detailed report, and I've got the detail of what's been added. So,
and now this was this. I'm just going to go back if you don't mind. So this PCI custom field. This is a dynamic collection.
Yeah.
Open this up. Notice. So you created the custom field PCI,
I did.
and you're saying that show any computer that has PCI is true. So I just want to. We're looking at 14 computers. You can see the 14.
Right down on the left-hand corner there.
Yeah.
There it
Go
is.
ahead and clear that if you don't mind.
All right.
So now I just to keep us honest here, there's nothing.
Nothing up our sleeves.
Yep,
That's
I'm
why
just
we're
gonna-
short ones. So,
Let's just go ahead and say that I'll show you how to make Matt PCI. So in Matt, open up the computer Matt. Notice all these different windows here. One of those is custom fields. Because Lex had already defined this PCI custom field and it's set as a Boolean, it's just enabled or disabled.
tag it, and now it's
So now we should see
MATLAB should be part
Matt
of
Labs should be down here in PCI custom fields.
There it is. Second one down.
There we go, right there. So anytime you add that Boolean value of true, they would show up in this collection,
Absolutely.
PCI. And now you run that report, it's going to include this computer for Matt.
Exactly. So now again, building reports, there's a lot of different reports obviously we built here for PCI, but ultimately you want these to run automated, and then you just need to make sure you check them, right? So to do that, basically we're going to do auto reports. You want to help me with this one?
Please.
All right.
Let's
Like move.
grab your whiskey.
Grab my whiskey and get out of the way.
I
And
certainly don't want to taste yours.
it's the same. It's the same.
Well, let's go before we do the auto report. Let's take that question.
Oh,
Okay, we have a question.
okay,
How's that sound?
Sounds good.
Dear Shane and Lex, for PCI reasons, is there a way to see if portable apps are in use or have been in use on a computer? Tiffany G.
Hi, Tiffany. So when you say portable apps, this to me, I'm going to make sure I understand what you're talking about. And Chris, Lex, if you have anything to pipe in, a portable app would be like an app that's not necessarily installed, but maybe just a utility, a file that you could copy out to a machine and run it. Would that qualify for you guys? It's not something that's necessarily installed as an application.
Right, something you might throw on like a flash drive or something. Yeah, that's what I'm taking.
The only way to do that I know of using PDQ inventory would be to kind of know what you're looking for on those apps and have a file scanner. But the problem is it has to have scanned that computer while that file is there.
Yeah.
And then you could say, oh yeah, there's this executable that's
there now.
That's there now based on the file
If
scanner.
it's there, has it been run though? That's the real
Yeah, but
question,
if it's
so.
as far as has it been run? No, probably not. There are some areas of the registry in the user hive to show kind of a history, but we don't. That's in the current user. I wouldn't.
That would be a tough one.
Probably not. That's going to be a tougher one for you. I would definitely attack that from a group policy standpoint, where even when a computer is off, you've got those policies that are enforced that either don't allow flash drives to come on, or you can have a whitelist or a blacklist of processes that can be run. That's kind of how if that's a real concern, that's where I would attack that from something like a group policy standpoint.
Yeah. So,
Do you have anything you want to add?
no. No, that was good. We'll
But
roll with that.
but for others, we have a lot of people that say I don't want certain files. I know that I know these files. I don't want them on my computer. There are file scanners in inventory. You can build a custom file scanner and scan your computers as often as you want to say, show me any computer that has this file or any of these files that I don't want. Or they should only be on computers in this collection because these are computers used by the security team, something like that. You can use a file scanner.
Yeah, file scanners. Now, again, with PCI, you got to be careful with who has access, like root and root. Who's got
Linux coming through.
Yeah, who's got local admin rights? So you've got to be concerned with how old, if you got the latest version. So again, these are the kind of things, and this I love this report here. Hank's helped me do this one this morning.
Okay.
Unapproved accounts with local administrator in the local administrator group. So if I run that, and again, I'm going to go grab my
So the collections, when you run a report, it runs, obviously, it shows whatever you've got set in your display. I'm going to hit define real quick. The columns are showing, these are what you want to display. The filters, if you have any filters, obviously it's going to run these filters against all the computers that are being processed. The collection source, you don't have to have that in the filters. You could have a filter saying, hard-coded filter saying only run this against computers in this collection. But you might run this against a bunch of different collections at different times. That's where the collection source comes in. So when you see Lex run this, he's changing the source collection to something else besides all computers.
Yeah.
And then it will only run this report against the members of that collection.
Yeah.
And that's why you don't have to hard code that collection in there. You can always, that's just defined at runtime.
Yeah. Now, again, when you do this unapproved administrators, you got to list your approved administrators. So
yeah, you want to cut down on the noise.
I've done that.
So in this case, notice, is there any chance you can zoom in on this, JJ?
On which?
This window. Can you zoom in anymore?
So we can see the filters.
I can go right
There we
here.
go.
Is that good?
Yep. So notice the way we've got a group filter that Lex built with an all, saying all of these have to be true. And the first one is the local group name equals administrators. And you could still also do a local group member.
That's
you know
true.
that? You could do
I
local
didn't
group
know
member.
that.
Yeah. In fact, that's what I would recommend, but it's okay. You didn't run this by me. I hate you. But this should work.
Two ways to skin the same cat.
Yeah, so here you're saying that whatever account, number one, first thing we're going to do is it has to be a member of administrators, which is a local group. And then the local group member does not contain administrator, does not the name, notice the name right here, you're listing 4 different names that show me who's in the local administrators group, but don't show me administrator, Vincent, QA,
These are the guys
or
that
donate.
it's okay to be in the admin group.
Yep.
The thing I love about this is, you find out who's been messing with your machines. Matt, Brig.
So so there we see those are quote unquote unapproved accounts that are in there. And there's actually a number of ways you can skin this cat, but I like this. This is great.
I love how Matt is unapproved in his
own
computer.
lab. Yeah. Well, there's different ways Matt can be approved, but yeah, thanks for these guys for actually putting those out there, so I had something to show. So, anywho, yeah, Hanks, thanks for this one, bro. It's a good one. Jason helped me build that one. Now, the other thing you want to do is, again, with your PCI audits and stuff, is I got this one called pre-audit cleanup, right?
Okay.
Before your auditors come in. And Brig built this one last week, which is basically just show me any machine. And again, I got to select my source, okay, where it's in a collection that's got old in it. So I know all these machines have got old versions of stuff.
So yeah, you're saying show me machines that are in a collection, and the collection has the word old.
Yep, that is exactly it. And so basically, before the auditors come in, I can do this. I can go and clean it up. It's going to look pristine, as opposed to having them go, well, why in the world do you have an old version of Java? Okay, so take care of that yeah.
I like that. Now, we did tease something earlier that we're talking about creating auto reports. So obviously you're seeing Lex run these, right now. That's the beauty of a report is you can just run this. But what if you want this to be run at a set time or set times, and then maybe sent to a file? You can send the output to a file share, or you can email a PDF or something to a manager. That's where you want to use the auto reports for your PCI or any other reporting.
The great thing about that is showing in PCI, one of those listings of things is like automated compliance, okay? So you're automating compliance. You're going to get that every month. You're going to be able to go out and check on these things and make sure that, and when the auditors come, you can say, here's my paper trail.
There you go.
Every month I have got a list of apps. Every month you can see them go from old version of Flash up to a newer version of Flash, because the versions will change.
We did add today this audit to an auto report. Before we show that, I'm going to show you how you can add. Well, let's just do this unapproved.
Okay, I like it.
So we're going to go. I just did a right click on this, and you can either create a new auto report, because remember, an auto report is kind of like a schedule in PDQ deploy, where a schedule can deploy more than one package. An auto report can include more than one report, or you could create a new auto report. But we'll just add it to that one, yeah. gonna go over here to our auto reports.
Do you have is there a best practice on that?
It really just comes down to how often you want this run. I mean, if you got your PCI reports and you want them all to be run at the same time,
Monthly,
and sent to the same place, the same manager or whatever, then combine them all into one auto report. But if you have other reports that don't fall into that grouping, then create additional ones.
Yeah.
So we'll open this up. And if I had selected a new auto report, I would see this window, the details. The details of what I want, what's the name of this auto report. In this case, I'm saying, place this out in this path. You can see there's a UNC path, so obviously the background service has to have access to that path. And then the file name, notice the file name does look a little squampus. We're using variables. You could call this whatever you wanted. You could type in any value you want, but generally for these reports that are going to be created on a schedule, you want to use variables.
Timestamp and that kind of thing.
You see this little X right there, you click that and you can select the variables. And we just literally selected, we're going to call this report name, and then we added a dash, and then we selected a date time variable, so that every time this is run, it's going to create a CSV file with the report name and the date time.
Now, the other thing is with the reports, you'll notice if you click on reports, Shane, right there, thanks, man. There's 2 reports in there now, so I would change the title to say like monthly reports or monthly PCI reports.
Thank you.
Details.
So we'll go back over here.
So don't let that confuse you.
Monthly PCI. All
There you
right,
go.
thank you. Good call. In the triggers, how often do you want this run? You can have multiple triggers. Here we just said every day at 9, but we could change that. Let's say you want to just run this. I'm going to delete that one. We'll just say run this monthly, and when it says monthly, it doesn't mean just once a month. You define when
During the month
it runs. So we'll say maybe the first and the last. So we'll lose that because obviously the last. If we have to explain
if you did the
that
first
one
and the
to
last,
you.
you get it today and tomorrow.
I'm sorry, you're right. So we'll do the
So
first
the
and the 15th.
15th.
Thank you. I suck.
Math is tough.
First and 15th, there's no doubt. So we're going to say go ahead and run this on the 1st and 15th. This is just an example. And once again, you can have multiple triggers. If you do have mail set up, that's set up in your preferences, this means you specified an email account that's going to send this out. Here you can, once again, use different variables to say what's going to show up there. And then there's your reports. Notice in these reports, or this auto report, we're saying export this to a CSV file. But you have a lot of options.
Yeah.
From a very popular one as a PDF, you can throw this out to an Excel spreadsheet. You can see the options that you have there. But we're just going to run this. And now I'm just going to actually hit run. I'm going to go ahead and run now. We'd already selected one. Go ahead and drill down to that directory if you want.
Okay.
We'd already run one, so we're expecting to see 3 reports in there. Yeah, go ahead and throw a question out.
Dear Shane and Lex, how can we build a report with all our machines that have 2 displays connected? Sincerely yours, Team OS.
We will show you that once Lex learns how to read.
Read. There we go.
Yep. So there's those. This is the path that we sent those reports to. You can see that they were just barely, right now 10:19. You can see that there were some that were created. Oh, it looks like we ran the other one a few times. There you go. There's the reports. You'll have your history based off those older versions because we attached the timestamp to the name. Notice the name is the name of the report.
Periodic cleanup and
Yep. There's the name of the report, and then if you even scroll out here, you'll see the date and the time on which that was run. So, all right. So, Timo, your question was, how can you run a report to show computers that have more than one display attached? In that case, you're going to want to use what we call the SQL report. When you run, most of you, when you create a report,
easiest way is to do a basic report.
Yeah, the most people when they run a report is go to new and they'll run a basic. And the basic is just what you probably see, what you've seen here, where you define the columns and then you define those filters. In this case, you're probably going to want to do a SQL report. Now, I'm glad that you had sent this in. We did have a report built for this previously, but this is an example where I mentioned in the pre-show, I don't want us to show us typing SQL. Doesn't make
Challenge accepted. I could do it.
doesn't make for good pod. No, I'm just saying the people here can't do it. I'm just saying it's boring as hell.
I know.
See the top of my head typing. Oh no, backspace, backspace, backspace 100 times.
I'm gonna import I just hit Control I. All right.
Nice.
And I've got so this is basically saying I'm going to import. I'm looking for an XML file. I've got other reports.
You're in PCI.
Computers with more than one monitor. So this is an SQL report. When you go to new report and you select, SQL, you're going to notice this. It's basically going to take you to effectively a nearly blank SQL script.
Yep.
That you're going now. You can populate using the structured query language. So you kind of have to know SQL. You can select the tables over here on the left if you want.
There's some helps, but ultimately you do need to understand SQL to type this
Correct.
stuff up.
So team will take a peek at this, and we'll add this. I didn't add this to the bonus material. I apologize, Kelford. I'll get that out to you. I'm going to right-click and say Define Report. And there's the SQL. If you can, I don't know how much you can zoom in, but when you're starting to talk about your requirement of showing, your requirement, Timo, is saying more than one. In SQL, you're going to want to use a group, the group by clause along with the having. So here we're saying literally show us the computer name. Notice the computers table dot name. You want the highlighter? Sorry, JJ. Select computer name, and then we're going to say whenever you do an as, that just means this is what the name of the column is going to be. So as computer, and then the count. This is a function in SQL. Count open paren and displays.display ID as monitors. Right. So
again, basically, you have two monitors, you have two IDs, it'll count them, 1, 2.
then you want to do your from. Now, because we're talking about two different tables, you do need to do your join statement. Otherwise, you'll get a Cartesian join that's not what you want. So we're doing an inner join where we're combining those primary keys of computer ID, which equals the computer ID and displays table.
I was just thinking something, Shane. It's boring to watch people type.
It's even more
I bet
boring.
it's boring reading
Yeah, it
SQL
is.
too, but
But then getting right to the thank you. We're getting right to the group by where we're saying now you have to group by the computer name having a display ID greater than, there's the greater than right there, greater than 1. So we could have done equals 2 to be very specific to your question. But here we're saying show us anything that has a display account of more than 1. We'll hit run report and we'll see Sulu and teacher have
two monitors.
2 monitors right there. But if there's 3 or 4, based off that SQL, it would show the number of monitors. So I'll throw that out there if you guys would like in the bonus content. And by Kelly will.
I mean, Kelly.
Do you have another question?
Dear Shane and Lex, I'm working on building a report that shows a list of who all is administrator of the computer by pulling the information from local groups members. Our former techs gave our end users admin access to their computers. Dhow! And I'm working on fixing that. Any help or suggestions would be appreciated. Sincerely, Jeremy C.
Hey, Jeremy. Lex actually kind of covered that. We'll show you this where you've got the unapproved accounts. Let's see. I'm going to go to once again Control I, and we'll show a couple of different reports.
Yeah.
These are local accounts in the administrators group. I'll open that one up.
Probably put that on content too, that XML, so people can import it.
That sounds good. So it's importing that report right now. And I'm going to hit Control I again. You can also just go to File, Import. And domain accounts and administrators, local group. So we're going to kind of have some duplication here.
Couple of ways to look at that, yeah.
So if we look at the, let's wait for that to load.
Spin up there, yeah. So,
Oh, this is slow.
okay, I'm just, they gave your teachers admin rights. That's insane.
Yeah, welcome to it.
Yeah.
I'm going to right-click on local accounts. So this is, once again, these are for people that might have created local accounts. These are not domain accounts.
Yeah.
Define report. Just so before I run it, I want to show you how this is. And a little bit more a complexity here. Notice we got a couple of group filters where we're saying the local group member, the group is administrators. That's where I was saying recommend local group member as
Versus
opposed
name.
yeah, it's just better that way. if you're trying to look at the members. So anything in administrators, the local group, and then there's actually a value under local group member where it's called local. It's a Boolean value, true or false. So yeah, we're saying this is true because we're not looking for domain accounts, groups, or user accounts. We're looking for local accounts. And then here I've got a not any that's nested, and this just says these are 2 accounts that I would accept as approved, Vincent and administrator.
So don't show them on the report.
Correct. You hit run, and these are the local accounts that are members of administrators. And then well, you've kind of seen an example with what Lex had shown, but we'll define. Here's another example of that. Define report for domain accounts. Kind of the same thing, except for the local group member is false. And then I've got a not any, and then each one of these are local group member names that are approved. The domain admins, account operators, QA, etc. Run that, and you'll see that these are domain accounts that are not they're not approved. So hopefully that answers the question. Is there another question out there?
Dear Shane and Lex, or I should say, dear fresh and funky PDQ peeps, is it possible, and if so, how, to build a report that will find computers that have the Display Intranet Sites in Compatibility View option in Internet Explorer checked? Sincerely, Monica K.
Hello, Monica.
Hey.
A lot of that depends on how you... Hopefully you're enforcing this through group policy.
Yeah.
And then it comes down to, are you enforcing it through a user-level GPO, or are you enforcing it through a machine level? If you are enforcing it through a machine level, then you'd want to create a registry scanner. And the registry scanner would look under HKey local machine, software policies, Microsoft, Internet Explorer, or something. You
Yada.
kind of have to do some homework.
Yada.
Yeah, drill down in there to look at those policies, and you'd find that and be able to use it.
Build
That's
reports,
only
yeah.
if you have that enforced at the machine level.
At the user level becomes
Yeah,
much
at the
more
user level,
difficult to report
our
on.
registry scanner, we don't have an HKey current user option for the Hive, so you'd have to do some additional magic there. But hopefully you're enforcing that through group policy to check it. As long as you're doing machine level, I would do a registry scanner and build the appropriate collections after you scan those computers with that scan profile.
Definitely.
You have another question? All right.
Dearest PDQ ladies and gents, and also Lex,
He's making fun of you.
Oh, man.
You are neither.
Okay, I want to know, did he really write that?
yes, yes, he did.
Hey, Jason, you and me, bro. Flagpole after work.
It would be amazing to know what browser extensions are being used by our folks. Can we make that happen in a report? Sincerely, Jason A.
Browser, do you have anything you want to add to that one, Chris? He's laughing, probably
Just over
not.
there, like,
I haven't done this. They're probably per user. That's the problem.
Some are, some aren't.
smart.
I don't know. I can't remember off the top of my head, but like Chrome, for example, I think it might store that in like a manifest JSON file. I don't know off the top of my head. If it's in the registry, cool. If it's in a file, cool. We can identify it and point it out. That's just traversing, but I don't know off the top of my head.
Sorry, Jason.
Maybe.
And I can tell you right now, if it's per user in the registry, that's going to be a taller order, since we focus more on the machine management at this point than the user management. But we should,
it might be
Chris,
one
make
for
a note. We should see if we can take a peek about that. So. Is that a wrap, you guys, or do we have anything else? All right. Well, rock on, everybody. Thanks for watching. Dive into your reports, please.
Yeah.
You remember you can take collections and create reports, and you can take basic reports and create collections, so that you don't have to duplicate those filters. But do it. Dive into it.
Set up auto reports to keep your boss off your back, okay? Email him everything that you report on, so in case he stays away from you.
Absolutely.
You drink more coffee.
If you want to, go to our help file. It's it is very in depth on how to create auto reports. It should link to videos on how to do it as well. All right. Until next time, rock on, everybody. Thanks for watching.
See you all later.
Thanks for joining our webcast today. Congratulations, Tiffany G. and Jeremy C., winners of PDQ swag, as well as Stephen L., winner of our vintage PDQ floppy coaster. Send us your info at webcast@pdq.com. Thanks again for joining us, and we will see you back here next week.